Hey everyone and welcome. As you all know, Donald Trump went and got himself pew-pewed. Now this isn't about that, so don't be running off. Well, it's not about it per se, but it is around it. Plenty of others are covering the pew-pew magoo. I don't need to do that. This was a debate on Talk TV that I thought you might be interested in.
The core is one, and I can behold the tide.
Now, the subject came up of Trump and his pick for VP, and his VP's previous comments. And it got very heated, and Renee, who is the co-presenter, shut the Labour activist down with sublime expertise. Now, you're probably wondering who I'm talking about. The programme was on David Bull's Talk TV, and it was his presenter guest, Renee Holdenkamp, who's a regular guest and has been on quite a journey from Hug the World to I'm Not Having It in a very short period. Now, she's a doctor, a GP doctor, and is also a broadcaster. Personally think she should have her own show. And I think you'll probably agree with me after this. She's wasted with Bull, but that's just me. Now, she was debating, and he was debating with two people, Stella Chisankadu. I probably said that wrong, and I'm not really that bothered. She's a former Labour aide, and as annoying as you can imagine. Nothing unusual there then, is there? And a gentleman called Charles Amos, who couldn't look more like a mugshot of a wrong-un if he'd tried. Sorry, Charles, but what the fuck is that look? It screams, I was bullied at boarding school, but now I'll have a Primark rack suit. Hey, success. Don't it? It just looks bad, doesn't it? Now, this gentleman's a political writer. I've never heard of him. Anyone else? Let's have a listen to what they say.
Can I just ask you about something else that happened this week? The comments by J.D. Vance that said the first Islamist country to have a nuclear weapon is the United Kingdom.
Well, it's just, you could maybe make that argument if you had a Muslim Prime Minister.
I'll just qualify that. He said under Labour, actually, is what he said. He said under Labour, this is the first Islamist country to have a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, I don't buy that because nobody that's got their finger on the red button is a Muslim, so I don't think he could argue that. Perhaps he's seen Sadiq Khan gone, well, he's a Muslim and he's to do with Labour, so I think it's an Islamist country that has a nuclear
His comment
power.
was probably a little bit broader than the leader of the country was meant to be a bit broader.
It's quite an inflammatory statement.
Yeah, so they get to say, the right-wingers get to say things like that, and the left-wingers have to be like the polite, like constantly the polite and the civilized
I've never seen that.
and keep the moral high ground, and they're not allowed
to be fair. Hang on a minute. J.D. Vance, this was in a meeting to delegates. He said that I just thought it was a pretty inflammatory comment, but many of our viewers and listeners think he's right. But many of our viewers and listeners think he's right.
So you think the UK is an Islamist country?
It's not what I'm saying.
You think the Labour... Do you think it's an acceptable comment to say that the Labour Party is an Islamist? Do you not think there is a hint of Islamophobia in that statement?
Renee?
You don't think... I think the moment that we start throwing around words like Islamophobia, transphobia, whatever it is, you're just trying to shut down debate, Stella. People are allowed to have a view. That's called free speech. And if people have that view, we should be able to discuss it.
Am I not allowed? I'm sorry, Renee, but that's not the person you're describing.
Oh, you're allowed, Stella. You're definitely allowed. We're just going to mock you for doing it because you're effectively saying, I'm a loser.
Using words like Islamophobia, which is the weaponisation of language designed to shut language down. I'm tired of it.
Am I never allowed to use this? Am I never allowed to use this?
So phobia means an irrational fear of something.
And it is irrational because there really aren't any Islamists anywhere near the Labour
Party. It may be Islamophobic, but just because something's Islamophobic doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. There's lots of things to disagree with in Islam, so it's not always bad to be against something.
So tell me, which there isn't even a Muslim near the red button, as Charles just said. So can you tell me how this is not Islamophobic? How is it not an Islamophobic statement when there are
I don't believe Islamophobia is a word that has any meaning at all.
Well, let's be very clear. I think Islamophobia is wrong, and tolerance of all cultures and religions is absolutely paramount here.
Now, I think that weasel threw her under the bus right there. That was sheer cowardice, wasn't it? Tolerance of other faiths is all well and good, but when Islamophobia is used, as David quite rightly knows, it is used, as Renee said, to shut down debate, and is also to shut down criticism. Is it not?
It's just interesting, isn't it, how it's galvanised and how it's divided people.
Expertly shut down that, wasn't it, everyone? She's right. Islamophobia, as in other words like anti-Semitism, are all words used, and homophobia and all of the other ones, are all words used to shut down debate, shut down talk, shut down criticism. They're not designed to protect anyone. Just stop you looking bad because you don't have an answer to the things that are being put to you. Am I wrong on that? So I think she did expertly, and it shut that Stella down perfectly, didn't it? All religions, all faiths should be criticisable. It shouldn't be against the law to criticise a faith. It's not discrimination, and we need to rid the nation of it. Renee's right as far as I'm concerned. She deserves her own show, doesn't she? Let me know what you think though, everyone. I'd like to know your opinion. And don't forget, subscribe, like and share for more videos. And there are other ways to help my channel in the description of the video. Thank you all for joining me. I'll see you on the next one.